Hello and welcome back. It's been a very long minute since my last video, like over a year. I have been playing a few games, not near as much. I failed a challenge last season, about 20 games short, but not too bad. Better this year on my challenge. I'm a little bit behind schedule, so to speak, but I've been playing some, and this is what you see. I've been playing quite a bit of this combat, so I just thought I would just start recording some things, mainly for, I don't know, just for fun. I guess I figured if I'm playing, I might as well be sharing it. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. So this is going to be Combat by Compass Games. This will be a campaign, which comes with the Volume 2 module. There's two. I've got Volume 1, Volume 2. Volume 2 brings in the campaign system, brings in some lots of additional counters, and vehicles, jeeps, trucks, and tanks. So it adds quite a bit to the game. This game is huge. It takes up a lot of space. This is an example of a map. They're, I don't know, 2 foot by 3 foot roughly, a little over that maybe. I didn't write down the measurements. That's not something I do a lot of. And here's another example, what a map looks like. There's some good maps. This one, I believe, comes from the second volume. The other picture, I believe, let me see that. Yeah, that's the first edition. They changed it a little bit, the artwork. Um, Even some of the things like rocks are different, and the shadows aren't near as pronounced. I think that was one of the I don't know, we call it complaints or comments at least. And some of the first edition maps, it just the shadows started messing with your ability to calculate line of sight and things. This is one of the things that the cards. It uses cards, it uses dice, it uses counters. It's a hex and counter game if you're not familiar with it at all. But it is strictly, not strictly, it is a infantry, mostly infantry. Like I say, Volume 2 brings in some vehicles, jeeps, trucks, tanks. But it is man-to-man combat. Literally, one counter equals one man. And a tank will be one tank with maybe 4 or 5 people. A jeep may have up to 4 people, things like that. But each counter, even in the tank, is still, there's individual soldiers inside that tank. So each counter equals one tank. And there you see the counters. This is mainly Volume 1, where each counter is named and has given statistics that are used in the game. And then you will have, it's Volume 2, I'm sorry it's sideways, but it just looks better that way. But you can see this is the Volume 2, and you have companies, Abel, Baker, Charlie, but you have alphabetic letters, A, B, C, D. And what you do is we'll roll up create a character, basically, like an RPG kind of thing. You actually create your characters for the game. Now, the Germans, this is strictly Allied or Americans, strictly Americans versus Germans, basically from Normandy through Germany, the campaign system. And all the Germans, and these are some really bad Germans here. I mean, they're a lot tougher than the Volume 1s. Matter of fact, I have yet to put them into a game. I may try to do that this campaign. The campaign I did before, and I didn't completely finish it. I got probably 3/4 of the way, but I never put these are the elite forces. I never used them, so I never got there. So let's it's kind of an example of what the map looks like with some counters on it. This is a counter-intensive game. It does use a lot of counters. Now I'm going to go over to the. These are just some of the some of the player aids. This isn't even. This takes up basically my whole table. I have a couple inches over on this side. I've got maybe 2 foot, maybe a little less than 2 foot on this side. I have maybe a foot up at the top of these. And I don't even have a map on here. So the map will pretty much take up a lot of that. Matter of fact, I don't know, see if we can unfold the map and see what one looks like. They're big. They're big maps. Like I said, the game takes up a lot of space. This is going to be kind of messy, but we'll see. It'll give you an idea. Like I said, if you're not familiar with the game, it'll give you an idea of what. So, there's the map. So the map's going to go, of course, obviously, I won't have all those player aids on there, but it gives you an idea. It's a table hog. It does take up a lot of space, but it has become my favorite game. It's just, I had a harebrained idea that I would, and I may yet try to do it, that I would start somewhere, maybe at the first of the war, maybe later, but start with like an operational. I don't have very many strategic level games, and I'm not interested in those at all. But start at maybe an operational level, like Fortress Europa or the Russian campaign or the African campaign, or I picked up the Dark series, the Dark Sands, Dark Valley, Dark Summer, which is also Africa, East Front and West Front, and then I have the Nations at War series, the maybe a little closer to tactical. I look at those a little bit more. Most people are still going to consider them operational, but they're also kind of tactical. You don't have to worry about the supply and things like that, like you do in those other games that are getting a little closer to the strategic level. But and also, I thought, well, I'll start with let's just say I start with the Dark Summer and move a little bit through that, and then when I get to a point, I can drop down and do White Star Rising and do a couple of scenarios that use a company or army group or division, things like that. Whereas the Dark Summer may have division levels all over the place, and then so the division goes and fights a battle. So you bring it down to White Star Rising and have that division fight a battle, and then maybe take it down to the Heroes of Normandy system from Lock and Load Publishing to fight a tactical level battle, and then all the way down to this one, combat, to fight the individual soldiers. So it's a lot of work, and I'm old and can't remember all those rules. So, but anyway, so this is the game. This is the game we'll be starting on. We'll be playing. There's a lot of things to set up. Let's see if I can. We'll try this over here. Maybe that'll. If I can move over there to that guy, see. Okay, so this is your roster sheet. It's a front and back. So basically, you have what, 12? You have 6 on the front. You have 3. Usually, have 3 Able, 3 Baker, and 6 Charlie members on a team, basically. So, and you see, you roll up their weapon skills, experience points, things like that, and their special skills. They got a thing called foxhole buddies and antagonists that can help or hinder if they're on the map side by side or in the same hex kind of thing. If they're buddies, and they help each other. If they're antagonists, they don't. So there's a lot of little nuances into it, but you can also can see the vehicle orders matrix, half-track hit locations. There's AFV hit locations. There's all these little things about the positions for each of the different types of vehicles. There's just a lot. You got a campaign calendar over here, and it has a front and back also, obviously, because you can just see it goes through November '44 on the front. You've got a patrol display, and then your main tracking stuff. Main player's aids have your terrain charts, your sequence of play, spotting chart, those kind of things. You can see that there's just a lot of stuff. This is a big game. Takes up a lot of space, and but it's fun. Like I said, it has pretty much become my number one game. I've played more of it than anything. So that is the plan. I hope you join me as we struggle through and slog through Europe to liberate, beginning in France and all the way into Germany to take over. This game is strictly the player plays the U.S. soldiers against the AI of the Germans, and it is truly a solitaire game. I mean, it's designed from the ground up to be solitaire. A lot of things, Ambush, the old Ambush series. I think Ross Mortel, who created the game, I believe he used that as his base for a starting point. So that's the game plan, and hopefully the next day or two we'll put up the first thing. I don't know that I'm going to probably show everything because I think that would get kind of boring. It may be just show a few things and then play a little bit and give you a kind of an after action thing, or maybe a little shot here and there through it, because I think just sitting here watching me play for some of these games take 2 or 3 hours too once you get going on it, but some of the missions. So that's the plan. Bottom line is I'm back, and I intend to stay that way. I've got quite a few games that I've purchased in the last year that I haven't even played yet. Got some more through Kickstarter and things like that, so it should be an interesting remainder of 2022. Thanks, y'all. We will see you soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.